detained for 20 years.
It is an extremely dangerous
Not
thing that
detained.
is being...
Not detained. That is for the deferment for... No, but you look at all the European countries that these provisions are there.
What is happening?
That is within that you understand, you know.
If it's a European country or American country, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Doesn't matter which country it's practiced, it's wrong. So the problem here is that we can go through the technicalities of the law. But I would like to understand from the minister what is the justification for bringing this law in at this point in time. What was the analysis? What is the threat that this country is facing right now that requires this kind of law that adds to the existing PTA, not in any way repealing it, but makes it even more draconian. So what is the security threat? What is the national security threat that we are currently facing? I'm not finished. That we are currently facing that requires this kind of law. And now this law has been drafted and has been gazetted, or is going to be tabled in Parliament very soon, right? But here we are picking this law apart. There are 4 eminent lawyers here who are finding plenty of things wrong with this law. Do you mean to say that this expert committee that the minister set up to draft this law was unaware of these problems? That is why I'm saying the intentions behind this law have to be really closely examined. This is not some innocent mistake. This is not something where, you know, they didn't really understand the consequences of this draft. This is very deliberate. This is very deliberate. This is a response to the people's uprising that we have experienced in this country, which shook the establishment and the status quo of this country to its very foundations. The political establishment and the status quo in this, the people who want to preserve the status quo in this country want to make sure that this kind of Aragale never happens again. This is the intention behind the law. Let's be clear about this. This is nothing to do with the PTA, repealing the PTA or the national security. We always stood for the repeal of the PTA. We've certainly not asked for the PTA to be replaced by something worse than what is in existence. As I said earlier, we need if this kind of legislation is to be proposed, then there needs to be a justification for the need for such a law. And the minister and the government have failed to provide adequate justification for such a law to come into being. The only reason that we see for that is why you have to take the intent behind the law. Whatever the minister may say, the intent behind the law is not justifiable, is not innocent. This is being proposed at a time where the political establishment of this country was challenged as never before. And every action since Ranil Wickremesinghe came into power went into ensuring that such a challenge would never take place again. So this piece of legislation, in our view, is a continuation of that attack against the people of this country. Today, it is the people of this country who are seen as public enemy number 1 for this government. It's the people of this country who are being categorized as terrorists by the president and by the government. And this piece of legislation, far from protecting the people or anything to do with national security or public security, is about extending the executive power of the president in order to crush whatever challenges or dissent that is existing and will continue to exist, especially against this government and its current actions. Also, what is particularly dangerous is that this is coming at a time when the government is also denying people the right to exercise their franchise. So constitutional guarantees for exercising their franchise is also being denied, and through this legislation what the government is proposing to do is to deny their constitutionally guaranteed rights to express themselves, freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, freedom of organizing. All of these constitutionally mandated rights are being curtailed by this piece of legislation, and also I think it's highly irresponsible for a government to come up with this kind of legislation and then say, well, now we are open for discussion, you can give your comments and we are willing to accommodate. That's not how, I don't think that's the way you should go about bringing in legal reforms in this country.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Harina Mansoori.